All right, and welcome to the Firebrand Pastor, the podcast where passion meets purpose and lively discussions about very important topics. And today's is not only, in my humble opinion, an important topic, but it's one that's very near and dear to my heart because it had an impact on me personally. And so, with us today, we have TJ Morris. TJ, how you doing?
Good, good. Yeah, thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for being here. And of course, we have Pastor Benjamin Good with us today as co-host or host and host. I don't know how that actually technically
Whatever
works,
you want to
but
call
yeah,
it, man.
however that works.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I'm
How
just
you
glad
doing
to
today,
be
Ben?
here. I'm glad to be here. I've
Good.
missed you guys. I've missed being on Firebrand. We've had a lot of stuff at the Good household going on. So, you know what? Like I'm so glad to be back in the saddle with Bill and getting to hang out with TJ. I'm excited for this, man. I love camp ministry, and I'm waiting to hear what like a camp ministry veteran has to say about
Yeah,
stuff.
absolutely.
That's what I'm excited for this.
Are we going to have one of those? They're going to come later.
Nice. Nice. Yeah. So, well, with that, that's a good segue, Ben. Thank you for doing that because let's just jump right into it. I mean, you've been on here before, TJ,
Yeah.
but let's just ask the question: how many years have you been doing this camp ministry?
Yeah, so full time since 2006.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Before that, I had some summers where I spent in camping and volunteering at different camps, but full time since 2006. And that was the
Yeah.
same year my wife and I got married. So
Oh, wow.
together since then.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's
Yeah.
awesome, man.
Yeah. And so, what is your official title? I mean, you're what, administrator or?
Yeah, so we call it program director.
Okay.
It's since there's only a couple of us. Mitch McAfee is our executive director, myself, and then our spouse is full time, and then the rest of the year it's volunteers that are here for various amounts of time. So, yeah, since it's just a couple of us, there's a lot of hats that we wear, but the main thing is things around program. So, staffing, recruiting of volunteers. That is, I say staffing initially because we think of them as our staff, but they're also all volunteers. So we don't have any paid staff. So that's a little bit different than most camps. So
Yeah.
raising up volunteers, training them, working with them, and putting them in different places throughout the year. So
Yeah. Just to clarify too, at a ministry, I mean, I guess to say it's a small ministry is actually relative because I mean, you have a lot of campers that go through there. So I mean, it's not small as far as the impact that you have.
Mhm.
But as far as staff and things like that, you guys are a smaller ministry. You end up wearing a lot of different hats. I remember one day you mentioned Mitch being, what was his title?
he's the executive director.
Okay. So the executive director was out digging a hole and patching a pipe or something. I can't remember what it was. But, that's not the normal thing that an executive director
Right.
would be doing. But he's pretty handy. He knows a lot of stuff. He was contractor, right? Before.
Yeah, he's still a
former
contractor,
life.
still licensed contractor, and yeah, he. I mean, just in the time I've been here, which Mitch had time before that too. So many buildings have been improved or built up since I got here, so
Oh,
it
yeah.
definitely looks a lot different than when I got here, just because Mitch's skills in contracting for sure.
Oh, yeah. And vision, it took vision too,
Yep.
because, and I'll just, kind of get the preliminaries out of the way really quickly here. So that, I can throw you some general questions and we can all
Yeah,
get
totally.
involved in a
I'm
conversation.
open for anything.
Yeah, absolutely. But Camp Forward is special for me because I essentially grew up there. I lived in Garden Valley, grew up in Garden Valley, which was just down the road from Georgetown, which is more than just down the road from Camp Forward. Your address is Georgetown, California.
Right.
But I mean, you can spit into Quintet if you wanted to from where you guys are. I mean, literally spit into quintet. So you guys are
Yep.
more that direction, clear on the other side. But all of that to say, it was about a 20-minute drive for me from my house to Camp Ford. And so I spent some summers up there. And,
Yeah.
this was many, 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 many years ago. But, it was very formative for me. And the only reason I share that, because I don't want to make this about me, I want to make it about the camping ministry and what you guys are doing there. Do you see that kind of impact on a lot of your campers? What kind of impact does camping ministry have on, say, the local church?
Yeah.
Because we kind of focus, we're, pastors, Firebrand pastors.
Yeah.
What's the impact that you've seen over the years since you've been doing this since 2006?
Yeah. Excuse me. Have that like sticking cold there.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's times throughout those years where I know that there's a spiritual warfare going on, that Satan wants us to see all the kids who went a different direction, and wants us to focus on the ones that didn't end up in that walk with Jesus that we want. But for every one of those, there's multiple that have some variety of walking with Jesus. And one that stands out to me, a handful of years ago, I don't know, usually we've varied what our speakers are at camp. So I really like to give our summer missionaries, those that are up here for the full summer, opportunities to teach. Not like for a full week of camp, but for a chapel session or a missionary story time or things like that. So we see a lot of growth from those that have opportunities to lead in ways that they wouldn't otherwise get. And one that stands out to me is a handful of years ago, we had a fall retreat where I decided that God was telling me to ask some young guys to lead it. And so I just felt these two young men were guys that were following Jesus and had potential, even though they didn't really do that normally. They weren't like public speakers or pastors. And so both these guys, I think they were 18 and 19 at the time, came and they had mentors that were working with them to prepare for the chapel sessions for fall retreat. And they co-led this fall retreat, and it ended up going really well. One of those guys he's not a pastor. He, now fast forward this, almost 10 years. And, but he still looks at that as an opportunity to lead that he wouldn't have had otherwise. And then the other one, was just made associate pastor at our church, and, has continued to see growth in speaking. And I don't think it's just camp. There was tons of people in both of those guys' lives, but I do know that God uses camp to impact people and to give them chances to lead that they wouldn't otherwise have. So those are two guys that kind of stand out initially as you ask the question.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, my kids attend camps, various camps, including fall camp, and they really enjoy it. It's impacted their lives, and it is definitely it's a wonderful, uplifting experience that we can have confidence in. Just speaking from the perspective of a parent for the moment here, our kids just are so impacted by the camping ministry that you guys make our job much easier. I have to say that, and we do appreciate that. But anyway, all that to say,
alongside you in that way, we have like two primary goals. One is that we want to share the good news of Jesus with every camper that comes on our property. We know that there's kids that are in church right now. Well, maybe not today, but you know what I mean? They go to church and they maybe have heard the gospel and it just, didn't click. I know I've heard some people say they heard the gospel for years or their church preached for years, and all of a sudden, right, it's that Holy Spirit moving. But we want to give kids that opportunity to hear the gospel presented to them that maybe they haven't heard that. And the second thing is we want to train up leaders. So we know that the young leaders that come into camp, they end up growing more than our campers. It's an opportunity that they have to serve, and God ends up using that in their lives more than campers almost 100% of the time. It's very consistent that our leaders come away closer in their relationship than the campers, and it's all for the campers, but yet that serving others and doing something for someone besides yourself is an opportunity that is just not wasted. It's a really valuable thing. So pretty cool.
No, that's pretty awesome, man. I honestly, you know, growing up, I didn't really get a chance to go to church camp all that much, but through the Boy Scouts, I went to summer camp every single year, and that was majorly transformative. And like you said, leadership roles, right? Like that's where I learned how to lead. Was through our summer camp, and you know, like I can't even imagine, man. Like there was, you know, one of my favorite pastors who I've ever heard in my whole entire life. His start was at youth camp, and you know, Pastor Joby Martin, man, like he talks about how you know, it was coach that brought him to youth camp, and he got saved there, and the next year he gets up and gives the gospel, and more kids respond, and what an amazing cycle, right? Like when you get kids serving, and then they're preaching the gospel, right? It's not coming from just an adult, it's coming from more kids, and you know, that's just an amazing thing, right? Like, and especially in 2025, right, where we're all plugged into our cell phones, we have a screen in front of our face the whole time, to be able to go somewhere and the distractions of everything else are gone, and you can just focus in on training up kids and preaching the gospel, man. Like that's like the best of both worlds right there, you know? So that is absolutely amazing. I love that. And, you know, and to say the least, obviously it takes a special breed of person to be able to do youth ministry in that capacity. So, you know, like I was a youth pastor for like 9-ish years before I became a lead pastor. And I cannot even imagine taking a bunch of kiddos and putting them in a campground for like a week and then coming out the same human being, dude. So like, you know what? I give you props. I give you props for being able to do what you guys do, and you know, the impact that you guys are having. You know, actually just this last summer, I got the privilege of baptizing a kid who went to youth camp, got saved, and is coming to our church now. So that was an amazing thing.
That's cool. Yeah.
So like again, like you can't even overstate the amount of impact that this kind of ministry has on, I would say, and to be honest with you, the future generation of the church, right? Like that, if we're just calling it what it is, that's exactly what that is. So that's an amazing thing, man. It's an amazing thing.
Yeah.
And so
cool. I'm glad that you got to baptize that kid. That's this summer. We had a girl get saved at camp, and it was just a exciting time. And then one of the leaders at the church they happened to start going to after camp said, "Hey, they're getting baptized. You should come." And so on the 4th of July, we got to go, and not only was she baptized, but her sister and her dad, and like there was a line of 4 of them baptized together. It was like, this is awesome. Like, what a blessing to be a part of that after seeing her give her life to Jesus at camp. Like, yeah, I love that. That is
amazing, cool. Man. And you're talking generational things right there.
Right.
You know, and that's amazing. That is completely amazing. Yeah. What a privilege that is to see something like that. It's quite something.
Yeah, and then to get to be a part of the baptism, like we don't normally do baptism. Like we don't at our camps, we don't do baptisms at camp because we want the kids that get saved to go back and get baptized, and for their families to be able to be a part of that. Their church, their youth pastor, whoever, to be a part of that, right? I know there's a lot of camps that do that, but that's the reason we don't. But then to get to be a part of this anyway, that was pretty special. I like
that's amazing. That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah. And I mean, you guys are more than just a youth camp, although that's the general idea through
Yeah.
all summer long. You have youth camps where you preach the gospel hard and heavy.
Yeah.
And, what better time to do that than at the end of the week, especially when the kids are just exhausted and all their guards are down and there's absolutely nothing to hold them back from listening and hearing the gospel. But that's not the only thing that you guys do, though. You guys have other
Right.
types of camps, like
I
church
was
camps and
hoping
things
I
like
had.
that.
Yeah, I have actually a flyer that I've been taking to local pastors. I want to kind of let churches know how we can serve them, because we're not just youth camps. So we do have youth camps, and that for that one of the goals is those community kids that can hear the gospel for the first time.
Yes.
So we want people to bring their unsaved, friends and neighbors and family and stuff. But then, we also have guest groups where we rent the facility to churches. We only rent to Christian groups that are at least some part of what they're doing is the gospel. So like a men's group, for instance, from your church would be something that we would do. The group that's coming up this weekend, they're coming from a Christian church. And so we allow guest groups to come up and rent the facility, and we do a variety of hosting. Some of our groups, the one coming up this weekend, is doing their own food. Usually we do the food. We also do the program for some camps, or part of the program if they have their own thing going. We just had a group a couple weeks ago where we did activities throughout the day and night games at night, and then they did their own everything else. Most groups bring in, like, they do their own speaker or their own things, like, their own whatever their different sessions are going to look like, they do those. But then we can fill that in, helping with activities. And we did an archery competition and some things like that, just to help them to be able to use the facility to the best just available. So then we also we train up leaders. So we want churches to consider sending some of their young people or young adults, or actually we've had older adults too, but we have a training week that we do at the beginning of the summer, and we would love for that to continue to be something that churches can send their people to for training, not just at camp, but for outside of camp. And so on that training, we focus on like Christian leadership. It's not just how to be a cabin leader. We figure most of the things that apply to how to be a cabin leader would also help you how to lead a Sunday school, or how to help in a kids program, or how to lead something at kids summer camp or VBS or whatever your church might call it. So we're definitely into our leadership training week, and would love to see more people involved in that every year.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's terrific. That's not something you normally think of as part of the repertoire of a youth camp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's talk about this past summer, and then we can get into some more general things. But because you obviously your heyday is the summertime because of all those youth camps. So what does a typical youth camp look like? When and it doesn't. I mean, you can choose specific examples if you want, but as far as what a week would look like, a typical week.
Yeah. So our summer camp is heavily focused on the Bible. So like we have Bible right in our name, Forward Bible Camp. We do 2 chapels on a full day of camp. We have, after each chapel, there's a discussion time that we call cabin talk. And that's a time where the leaders are trained to encourage the students to talk through what they've learned, ask questions if they have them, and really just apply the chapels that they just went to. We have games throughout the day. Our camp focuses on like group activities. We want things to feel epic without the like cost of giant epic activities that you might think of when you think of big camps.
Epic can be expensive.
Epic can be very expensive. Yeah. So one of the things that our goal is to keep our camp costs as low as possible. So we do think that camp as a whole is valuable for the kingdom, for the kids that come. And I don't even care what camp kids go to. If they go to Forward Bible Camp, that's great. If they go somewhere else, that's great too. I've got friends at bunch of different camps, and I love what they're doing for the kingdom. But overall, we want kids at camp. And so our niche is to have camp as affordable as possible.
Right.
So we're trying to have just bringing those costs down by when we add something, we don't want it to be something that has a like added continuous cost. We want it to be something that brings value. So like we have a lot of our activities are games that are designed to be just played with other kids throughout the woods, throughout a particular area, basketball tournaments and capture the flag and things like that. Those extra additional cost things take away from that primary goal of keeping costs low. So right now our camps are about $260 a week. Most our camps go Monday to Friday. And in that, try to keep that at that low cost. And some people might be thinking that 260 is not that cheap, but if you look at camps, it's very cheap across the board. Camps are generally 2-3 times more than that.
Oh yeah.
And
we keep $1,000 for a week sometimes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane.
Yeah. There's a lot of camps that are 1,000. I was looking at a camp in Texas that was like 2,500 a week. And so there's camps all over the place with different costs.
Go on a family vacation.
We're not bringing the same thing that a $2,500 camp brings. We don't have scuba diving or wakeboarding, but we will have some epic fun games and some great teaching. And that cost is something that's a desire to keep that really low. We also scholarship any kids that ask. So if they can't afford the 260, then we also scholarship that. So we want to make sure all kids can afford to go to camp.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And our church is so determined to get kids. Things are a little different now. We went through the Caldor fire, and that had a huge impact on us. But when we had a lot of kids, a big youth group, we tried to get kids up to Camp Forward. And when we were a little more stable than we are now, we would scholarship kids too. And 2 of those kids were Jesse and Jacob Withrow that we scholarshiped one year. And, they've had a chance. They were very much impacted by Camp Forward. And they're going to the ministry now. So,
and we have a lot of guys like that, right? That camp wasn't the only thing in their life. For those that know those 2 young men, like they've had a lot of people pour into them. They've been blessed in that way for sure. But camp was definitely one tool that God used to both pour into them and give them opportunities to pour into others. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And that's, I guess my point in saying that is it's not wasted money at all.
No.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, especially seeing where Jesse and Jacob are now.
Yeah.
And, was some of that church that impacted them? Sure. But I'll tell you what, I don't think there was anything more influential in their lives that I saw as I watched them grow up. And, my kids are kind of in this spot now. Then Camp Forward. I mean, my kids talk about Camp Forward all year long. They're just excited to get back there again.
So,
huge.
And we're excited
to
have
fun.
Graceland and fill it back too.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And it's not just fun. They have fun. Don't get me wrong. And, you were saying, talk about some of these other larger places that, you can't provide the same level of epic for that. To me, it's every time I go up to Camp Forward, it's epic. You guys do a great job for, cut rate epic. So, no, you guys really
budget
do an awesome
epic.
Job.
Yeah.
There you go. Actually, Bill, now that you said that, Marilyn just posted this on YouTube. The discipleship during crew caused our kids to come home with great in-depth questions showing that they're actually thinking.
I know. That's a drawback. My kids come home with such good questions. I have to answer them.
That's amazing.
Awesome. Yeah, we have the crew program is separate from our traditional summer camp. And that's a great point to mention that. Thanks, Marilyn. So crew we really have 2 camps going on at once. We consider our traditional camp what you'd expect from camp kids, games, crafts, chapels, snack shop, great food, And then at the same time, we have what we call crew camp. And crew camp is a group of middle school and high schoolers. Generally during a boys' camp, it'll be a girls' crew and vice versa. And they have their own games, their own activities, but they also have like teaching times, training times, opportunities to lead devotions. And it's a work crew too. So they do the bathroom cleaning and the dishes. And I've had some young people that have zero desire to be a part of that. They just no interest in anything that has work involved. But I've had other young people who they like that more than like a traditional camp. They'd rather do that.
Oh, yeah.
That's like their thing. And in fact, I had a couple of different young people that one that comes to mind right now, that she had no interest in traditional camp once she tried crew, because she liked the work aspect, and then the deeper dive that they do, because it's a smaller group, into study and training. So yeah, that's a fun group crew.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was one of those strange campers that actually enjoyed, we in that day and age, we called it work camp. And, it was actually just a camp. I can't remember. It was like 3 or 4 days. And, but you got to actually go up and you got to be a part of the ministry, which I thought was even cooler. I mean, I still went to the other camps and enjoyed them, but, it was smaller, it was more intimate. And I think even now what you're describing is kind of that way, because at least my kids come home and they have specific names. That I interacted with this person, I befriended this person befriended me, or whatever the situation. And they actually build closer ties with each other, because it's almost more, it's not an exclusive group, obviously, but it definitely has more of an intimate feel to it.
Yeah. I think that comes largely from the smaller group size, but you end up bonding with people that work like you or that play like you or things. So there's more opportunities there for different personality types.
Absolutely. Yeah. Awesome. And I don't know if you can see the comments, but
I can't. Or maybe over here. Oh yeah, I can.
Yeah. My son said, "Hey, TJ." So
hey, Philip. Yeah, I see this now. I didn't know how to use it, or I'd forgotten.
Okay.
Awesome. Yeah. But I can see it now. Philip, if you have your crew shirt, can you bring that into your dad? Are you in there?
That's a great idea.
Because the crew shirts are pretty epic. I think it's anyway.
That's a great idea.
Very cool.
I had a fun camp blessing come up recently. Another camp friend contacted me and said that a friend of his, an old director of his, had wasn't going to be going to the National Christian Camping Conference Association conference. And so there was going to be an extra registration available that I might be able to get my hands on. And I ended up getting that, and the camp was willing to pay for me to fly out. So this December, I get to go to the Christian Camping Conference Association's national conference, which I've never been to, and I'm super excited to go to do that.
I don't know if you can
there
see
it is.
that. Let me
there we
adjust
go.
the light here. Hold it up a little bit more. There you go. Yeah, bring it
nice.
This way.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that shirt this year, I had a couple different people that wanted one, but they were like, "But I don't have time to be on a crew," and I'm like, "Sorry, only crew gets them. That's a crew exclusive." And so they figured out a way to be on a different crew so they could get a shirt. I'm like, if people want to volunteer so that they can get the shirt, then I've done well with the shirt. So I was excited about that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean,
awesome.
There's nothing wrong with incentives.
Yeah, no.
Absolutely.
No, and it's all volunteer. It's hard to come up with a good incentive. So if it works, it works.
He wears that shirt all the time. I question whether he even washes it.
Don't ask questions you don't want to know the answer to.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh. That's amazing. No, and what a good way of to be honest with you. So this is a cool thing, just hearing you guys talk. Okay. So like, first of all, to give context to the people who's listening, I have never been to this camp. I've never even been to California. The furthest west I've ever been in my life in the United States is Indiana. So
we're working on that.
Touch the West Coast as well. So I have no idea about this camp. But what I will say is, what I do love about what you were just talking about, like a work camp or a crew camp, what I feel like there's a missing component in all ministry in the local church. So link this back to the local church. I'll just give an example. I'll give an anecdote here. My grandfather's generation, where he was an elder in our church, and he also, when he retired, like served every day at the church. Like he'd go in and just do stuff. My grandma, who actually taught in the same school Bill did that after she retired, just because she wanted to do it. And it was like a serving aspect of it. And I feel like as we have gone on through, and I guess we can call it the late 1900s now, because I guess that's how kids are referring to it. It's disgusting. Yeah, I know, right? As time goes on, though, what I have at least seen this in youth ministry and in pastoral ministry in general, is this idea where people don't want to get involved in work in ministry, right? Like, I'm not talking about like doing the computer stuff or whatever. I'm talking about like boots on the ground, scrubbing toilets, power washing outhouses, whatever that looks like, when it comes to this kind of stuff. And what a better way to kind of instill in them that kind of servant leadership mentality that even Jesus gave, right? Like, I didn't come to be served, but to serve. And, in that kind of, and don't get me wrong, that gets abused so much in modern context. But, in this case, man, what an amazing thing, because, the church, obviously, as we know, has been built brick by brick through God's grace and people surrendering their lives to the work of ministry. And this is kind of giving that foundation level, right? Like, this is giving the foundation level to what will be a long-lasting ministry. And, and especially the transformative side of all of that, inside of youth camp and whatnot. I just, I love that, because even as a pastor trying to start in my context, we're just starting youth ministry at my church. And it is a very interesting time to try to get a hold of kids to kind of work with them and meeting them where they are. And in this kind of scenario, man, like you already have that, and you're taking kids and you're then instilling those leadership and servanthood capacities in them. So I even can say, like, even just as a pastor, like, this is giving me ideas to look for in Western New York, things that I'm looking for in youth camps. Like, hey, this is something that's actually working. This is something that's effective that God is using to build his kingdom. And what a beautiful thing that can be. And, and along the lines, of course, like, like you said, the epic games and, like, man, I remember when I was at youth camp, dude, like for Boy Scouts, we would do all sorts of stuff in the woods, and, water balloons that you get slingshotted at you, things like that or whatever. It's just those kind of things. You never kind of forget that. And so, it was just, that's an amazing component. I don't want to or try to make that underscore, anything else like that. That is a huge deal. The fact that Philip has a crew t-shirt because he volunteered somewhere, dude, that's an anomaly. Like, congratulations for getting kids to do that. Yes. That's an amazing thing. So, my hat tip to Forward Bible Camp, man. That is amazing. That is amazing.
It's cool. Yeah. I'm glad he wanted to come and wants to come back. That's really cool.
Yeah, that's even better when you get him to come back.
Yeah. I see. Also, side note, in the comments, Doug says, I wish there was one near us. Would work there. Absolutely. I don't know.
He's from our church, actually. Okay. But this is, at our men's ministry that's helping with the youth ministry. This is exactly what we've been talking about. So it fits in.
So, yeah, we have, so I'm a missionary with In Faith. They're a sorry. Oh, sorry about that. I think I muted it when I was coughing. Yeah. So I'm a In Faith missionary, which is a U.S. based mission organization, and they actually have camps around the U.S. Last I knew, there was 21 facilities and 21 groups that, like, they use some other camp for their camps. So kind of like we would call those guest groups or rentals. But I also know that Christian Camp and Conference Association, 3CA, if you go to ccca.org, they have a Find a Camp, and you can click Find a Camp, and there are camps all over the U.S. There's just in Northern California, we're part of the Sierra Pacific section, and just in that section that we're in that association, there's 42 Christian camps last I knew. So there's Christian camps all over the place, offering a variety of different things, but they don't all have crew, but they generally all have some sort of camp that you could be involved in one way or another.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. And what an
Yeah.
amazing way to, again, local ministry aspect is getting people in the congregation to volunteer at these camps and then pour into kids' lives. I mean, like, nothing will humble you more quickly than working with kids. Like, it is a fact, man. So it's a privilege and it's an honor, but it is humbling. And this is just an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing. See, like, TJ, look at that, man. Like, we just have you on for one episode, and I already got somebody in our church wanting to go volunteer at a
Go
youth
check out
camp.
a camp.
Look at you, man.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And I was just thinking about it. We actually have had 2 people from In Faith Ministry 2 weeks in a row, because I don't know if you're familiar with Scott Menez, but he's with In Faith in Idaho.
Okay.
And we had him last week. So that just happened to work out that way.
That's cool.
I didn't schedule it that way. It just happened to, work that way. And, so
I've
maybe
probably
we'll
met
just
him.
give it
I
a
don't
plug for In
remember
Faith.
offhand who he is, but I bet I've seen him.
Oh,
I'm gonna look him
probably.
up.
Yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man. Yeah, you could pick up that episode from last week and
Yeah.
watch it. He's a good guy, but he's within Faith as well. So, like I said, I didn't schedule it that way, but In Faith, I guess that actually shows. And I mean, I met you guys completely separately. In fact, when I met Scott, he wasn't with In Faith, but he is now. But all of that to say, that shows you the impact that ministry. He's not camping ministry. He's church planting.
Yeah.
But still, In Faith is so incredible, so active, and especially the camping aspect is so active, because that was let's see, the ASSU, American Sunday School Union, as I recall. What was that? 19th century, right? Mid 19th century, end of the 19th century. I mean, it's been around a while.
They are about, I think they're 210 years old.
Wow. That's incredible.
So is this the same In Faith as In Faith, the American Missionary Fellowship?
AMF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's formerly AMF. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So ASSU became AMF, became In Faith, and now they kind of go by In Faith and American Mission is kind of their.
Okay.
They decided, to bring kind of the American Mission side back a little bit more from what it was. So.
Yeah, and camping is part of that. Is getting the gospel out there. It's not just fun. It's Bible based. It's gospel based. It's wanting to see souls saved based.
Right.
Yeah, and if there's an In Faith camp near you, then those tend to be. I don't know for all of them, but all the ones that I know of tend to be extremely affordable because it's that same goal of keeping costs down so kids can come to camp. So, in fact, there are some that I've seen that our prices look extravagant compared to some of them, because there's some at like $100 a week, and they get sponsors to cover the other part for every single camper. But yeah,
absolutely. I see Ben over there doing Google searches. Like, I'm going to look for a.
No, I'm finding it so I can put it in the comments so people can look it up.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah,
I know. I'm giving you a hard time.
There we go. I'm posting it all.
There we go. There we go. Yeah.
There we go.
Cool. Okay. What a good producer you are, Ben.
No, I'm not anywhere near. Bill does all the work. I just show up, man.
Yeah.
And post links.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We post a few links.
Yeah, Bill does all the heavy lifting. I'm just here because I talked him into doing Firebrand Pastors, and then all of a sudden, like my wife and I have been going through it, so he's been soloing it mostly for the last month, and but yeah, I'm excited because, to be honest with you, this is such a cool opportunity to get plugged into something other than the local church. Now, is In Faith non-denominational, or is this tied to? Okay, all right, so it is non-denom.
Yeah, In Faith and 3CA are both non-denominational. So
Gotcha.
Yeah,
Very
yeah,
cool.
still gospel centered. You know, it's an incredible ministry. It's very doctrinally sound, and you know, some unfortunately ministries, especially ministries as old as In Faith is, have a tendency to go downhill, unfortunately. And In Faith has stuck to its mission of missions, and I appreciate that about them.
That's amazing.
Me too.
That's amazing. That's structural integrity right there, man.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
absolutely.
Yeah, they.
What did you say? 210 years.
Yeah, because it was about 10 years ago that we did the
That's right.
The 200th anniversary.
Yes.
So we went back to Philly for that, and that was really cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they started out with missionaries around the U.S. and they had a printing press back when people didn't really have access to books, and that was one of their main ministry outlets, was to have like a lending library that traveled with their missionaries, that people could get access to Christian and historical Christian books. So you can actually still find, there's a few missionaries in the mission actually that have collected books, because you can find them actually I would say fairly reasonable. Last time I looked, I want to say like we're talking books from the 1800s that are $30, $20. But books that are old ASSU books, and then around the time, so Forward Bible Camp was started in 1934, and around that time they were seeing the value of Christian camping. There was some camps that now are very large camps, like your Hume Lake, your Mount Herman, your Forest Home, that were started in the early 1900s, and they were seeing the value and wanted the kids that they were reaching throughout the year to have this place that they could bring them to and give them a camp experience and share Jesus with them. And so 1934, the property, there's 4 properties here technically, but the first of the 4 was donated for that purpose in 1934, and it was started then. So it's been going for 91 years or so.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. And when you and I get together and we just sit down together, it's it's a theological free-for-all, because we enjoy talking about those types of things. And
theology and cameras.
Yes, definitely. Definitely cameras too. But we always try to even figure in theology to our camera talks. So.
Yeah.
It's part of ministry, right? But all of that to say, the only reason I mention that is because I can see your heart, because, and I'm not speaking specifically about any particular camps or anything like that, but there are a lot of camps that have over the years just kind of gone off the wayside to, make it more about fun and less about the gospel. And what I appreciate about Camp Forward is that it's still, everything centers on the gospel. And, a lot of that is your heart for the gospel, Mitch's heart for the gospel. All of you together, you desire to get that message out. And I do appreciate that.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree that there are ministries that lose sight of what really matters. I work on a team. I'm on a board for our Sierra Pacific section of that 3CA. And so we work on getting the next conference together. So every like early spring, usually it's early March, we have a conference. And so I'm on the education team that works to get all that together. And that is one thing that I love about all the different camps involved in that I've gotten to see is, I think there's at least in the camps I've seen, there's probably less of that. You'd probably be surprised, Bill, at how some of these giant mega camps still focus so much on good teaching and bringing in good pastors.
Oh yeah, still good ones.
I definitely can't speak for all the camps because I'm positive there's some that have gone the other way too.
Oh, probably.
But I know that that was one thing that kind of blew me away, was the talking to these other camps and seeing how into the gospel. Like I've got several friends that work at for instance, Mount Hermon, and a close friend that works at Hume, and to see their heart for ministry. And I'm like, oh my goodness, this is awesome. Like we have so much in common, even though like those camps are giant compared to us.
They are.
Like my friend Ty, he works at Hume, and they have more kids in a week than we have in a year. They have more kids in a year than we have in our 91-year history. Like
I know.
It's kind of wild.
I've been to Hume. I went to Hume with Gold Country Baptist Church, and I am telling you, kids everywhere. It was like a city of kids.
Yeah. And then one of my favorite pastors to listen to, I listened to first time at Hume, and I'm like, man, this guy's amazing. So I do think there can be some of that. And so it's definitely something we want to keep going. Are we in line with what God wants us to be and the place the place and direction that he wants us to be? So our board, as we look at vision and mission, we want to keep that in mind. Our mission is Ford Bible Camp guides hearts to Jesus Christ so they might grow in faith, experience Christian friendship, and discover their purpose in God's plan. And so with that, there's like 4 key things: gospel and discipleship, gospel specifically for those that haven't heard that before, and discipleship for those that have. Camp community, those friendships that they make at camp that are lasting. And that is one positive about the way things are currently, with more online ways to connect with each other, is it is a little easier to connect outside of camp than it was before. Leadership development, as we've mentioned, and then church partnerships. And with our church partnerships, we're not just here as a ministry to take from the local church. We want to give to the local church. We want to give back their leaders as better leaders. We want them to be able to send their people to camp, to serve at camp, and then to come back even better suited, better trained, just better prepared to serve for the kingdom purposes that the local church has. And then just to be able to partner with us too. My wife and I were missionaries, and we definitely couldn't do it without our local partnerships. So we have churches and individuals that make that possible. And we'd love to get some from New York, Ben.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'm one of these days, Bill and I have talked about this before.
Yes.
I feel like we are going to connect some dots in the future because we want to do a Firebrand conference and have some of the people who have done guest spots on the show to do the conference. And that's going to be a time where New York meets California. And, obviously I've known Bill, like Bill taught me how to read, man. So like, I've known Bill for a long time. It's a very true thing. He was my first grade teacher. So, with all that to be said, I mean, we're definitely going to be connecting some dots because you know what, in the greater scheme of things, traveling is not as hard to do anymore. And, I would love to come check out a youth camp. To be honest with you, like what you guys are describing is like, I could live there, man. Like,
oh yeah,
that sounds my kind of thing. Well, one of the important questions though that I have is, TJ, are your cabins air conditioned?
Yes, it's called trees.
Yeah. No, we actually don't really have need for a lot of air conditioning because it doesn't get that hot up here.
No,
like generally
4,000 foot elevation. Yeah.
we're at 4,000 feet. And in fact, this last summer, I don't think we had a single 100-degree day.
Wow.
Which I know back east, that sounds like melting point of many things, because you guys have the humidity that we don't have, but it's a very dry heat out here. So we definitely 100 degrees even is we don't really like it when it gets triple digits. But anyway, I don't think we had one this summer. So yeah, it's pretty cool up here.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the
See,
trees.
that's even more enticing. Because I can't even imagine what California is like, to be honest with you. So like this is all new stuff for me.
Yeah. Well, here's another reason, Ben, to come out right here. I don't know if you can read that, but at Forward, the cinnamon rolls and biscuits and gravy are legendary.
Oh,
okay.
That's accurate.
There you go.
Yeah.
Another reason to come.
There's some camp food that you cannot replicate literally anywhere else. Like you can only have it there. You know, it's like how do you guys get bacon to, like, you know, and it seems like to be a camp thing. Like all the bacon from camp just seems to be like it definitely just tastes better, and I don't get that, but it's just something. It's a little bit of a youth camp razzle dazzle sprinkled on top, I guess. But
yeah,
you know,
it's something about the camp atmosphere, I think, that makes things taste better.
There you go. No, and you know, I am going to be interested. I am definitely going to be looking up if there's any camps around here in the New York area, in the Allegheny Mountain, you know, Appalachian range here to see if there's anything going on, because I'm excited for that, because you know, to be honest with you, so I love this because you guys know each other. TJ, this is the first time I've ever met you, so coming into this, my excitement is when I can find another group or ministry that is just as excited about the gospel as I am, if not more. Right. Like that is what makes me like amped and you know, sign me up. I'm going to get kids to come, you know, you can bank on that kind of thing. Because to be honest with you, it's like I said, it's the lasting effects in ministry. And especially right now, and I'm just going to get, you know, a little into the weeds with this, but you know, we live in a very chaotic time in the world's history where really the most vulnerable people are the ones who have the access to the most information in all human history, which are kids. And the fact that there's still like this flag planted in the ground saying like we're gonna honor what Christ has said in the scriptures, and we're gonna proclaim truth, and we're gonna stand for that, and we're gonna teach you how, is such an amazing thing that I'm looking at and saying this is what is needed. This is, you know, call it discipleship, call it whatever you want. It is something that is absolutely needed. And if we can get just even a week can transform a trajectory for a kid's life, you know, again, like that's even better. So like I'm excited that you guys are excited, because to be honest with you, like Bill said, there's not very many organizations anymore that I would look at and say like, hey, you know, like they have the gospel on the mind all the time. And to find one that does, man, like that just makes me excited. It makes me encouraged. It makes me want to go see and support them. So, you know, that's an amazing thing. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to check this out. I'm gonna have to check it out for the New York region. And can I do that right on the In Faith website, correct?
Yeah. So for Forward, you'd go to forwardbiblecamp.com. And then for my family, we have more information at morrismissions.com.
Okay.
And you know, you brought up a really good point on the connection to technology. And one of the things that I think makes camp, and really even since 1934, right? They didn't have cell phones, but there's always been distractions at home. There's been other things that need to happen. And so camp has this like twofold thing where, one, you're getting like the concentration of a lifetime as far as, you know, if you can get a kid to go to a youth group and a Sunday morning service every week, you know, you're looking at a couple hours, right? Whereas camp, we have, you know, 5 days with them. And in that 5 days, you really get that concentrate. of Jesus. You get to see Jesus lived out. You get to see what your leaders look like when they're tired, how they respond to you when you do or don't listen and they're exhausted, right? When they're hungry, like you get to see what Christ followers look like throughout the week. And so that's one aspect. I think another aspect on that was the cell phones, the connection to technology. And at camp, we decided several years ago to go with a screen-free policy where kids come to camp and they don't have that with them. And we've actually had students come in that very much had a tech addiction. They were, it looks like someone wanting drugs, wanting technology. And with that, there are kids that I'm sure have too much access when they're home as well, even if they don't look like that. And to come here and have this place where you can have a good time and, see people following Jesus and hear the good news of the gospel. And, it's like all these different things at once without that distraction that they carry around in their pockets all the time. And it just makes for a great experience that I think everyone needs.
No, absolutely. I mean, everybody needs it. To be honest with you, it goes back to the simplicity of, I was thinking, just because I prepping for Sermon Sunday, the trenches of ministry, looking at how Jesus even prayed throughout the Gospels, like it was by himself most of the time. And, it just without the distraction, without the noise, just going and being connected with God the Father and, just being able to intake what the word says, being the Psalm 1 person, being able to meditate on God's law day and night. So you're going to yield it your fruit in its season. With that being said, there is something special about that. And to be honest with you, I'm only 30. And, when it comes to this kind of stuff, I know even in my generation, I think my generation could benefit from it. So let alone a generation that's even more steeped into that. Through no fault of their own, it's the way life is. And I think there's something beautiful about that. And, I just, that is such a cool thing for me. I think it's such a necessary thing. It's a grounding thing for the believer to be able to just get alone with other believers and with fellowship and, just get in with God for a minute, and just unplug, but plug in at the same time and, recalibrate maybe is a better word to say that. Recalibrate. And, so I think this is all good stuff, man. I love hearing this because you know what? Like I love hearing the fact that Bill's kids are excited that they even know you and get to go to the camp. I'm excited because Bill got all excited about talking about camp. You're excited about talking about camp and, I think God's people are meant to be happy like that, which is an amazing thing. And so, I couldn't say anything better about this. So, that's pretty much all I have though, Bill. Is that pretty much all you have as well?
Yeah. Well, we're to the hour, so we're a little past actually, because wow, that went fast.
I know it did. It did. That's how we have hosts that or we have guests that click with us, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. TJ, really appreciate your time today.
Yeah. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah.
It's been good. It's been really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. And, to get a hold of Camp Forward, to be able to get more information if you're in the Northern California area.
Yeah. ForwardBibleCamp.com.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. And so I just want to talk for a moment to those who are watching today. Obviously, this live stream is a labor of love, and it is a gift of grace, but it costs money too. So if you're willing to help us out, then I've posted a link in the comments there that you can click on if you would like to help us out. And just go to that website and go to the top. It says donate. It's pretty simple. And you just click on that and you can give there if you want to help out. But this is a labor of love and a gift of grace. So it is not necessary, but it does help us out if you want to do that. So just wanted to throw that out there. But, with Camp Forward as well, a wonderful ministry to support in a lot of different ways. And so I encourage people today who are watching and listening, if you feel like there aren't a lot of ministries out there that you can support, you certainly can with Camp Forward, because of it just preaches the gospel just so beautifully and impacts young people for the kingdom. So thank you very much for all you do, TJ.
Yeah,
Really
yeah.
appreciate
Our
it.
biggest need is volunteers. So it takes a ton of
There you
volunteers
go.
to run camp. And since we're an all volunteer ministry, it's not like we can go out and get I can't just go hire more people.
Right.
So if you're an adult and love working with kids, it takes time to go through the background process and make sure that we get the right people in the right places. So yeah, let me know. And we're always looking for more volunteers. If you do want Pastor Bill to do a camera episode, make sure you send some money to the Firebrand guys here so that they can. I mean, camera gear is not cheap. I mean,
No,
and then
it's not.
maybe put in the notes, like maybe comment, hey, invite TJ back and we'll do a camera episode. I don't know.
Yeah, there
maybe,
you go. Yeah,
Maybe you're interested.
right. Yeah, yeah. Taking pictures and video for the glory of God.
You know what?
just-
There's something to that. I think we just need to put it on the calendar at this point.
I got. Hold on. Actually, you probably can see one of them. Let's see. That one in the background there.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to tell there, but I got one. I got a new photo printer this year, and
Yes.
I'll save it for the camera podcast. But I am enjoying printing photos. That's been really nice.
That's so
Yeah.
cool, man.
That's
Hey.
great. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's still a ministry concern. You know,
Yeah.
multimedia is a huge ministry
is.
thing.
Uh-huh.
It is.
Yeah.
And our chapel looks way better now with some photos of kids spread throughout the
Yeah,
chapel.
there
It
you
looks
go.
pretty
That's
cool.
amazing. Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
So there we go.
All right. Well, Ben, do you mind praying us out, and
Sure.
we'll get on our way?
Sure. Father, I thank you today for your grace and your mercy. And God, I thank you today for letting us have this conversation with TJ. Father, I pray that you bless Camp Forward abundantly. I pray that you bless In Faith Missionary, the group, and just Father, we just pray your blessing over them. Thank you for giving us people who are excited about your word, excited about the gospel, people that are just on fire for you. And God, I just thank you for the opportunity to just get to know other believers. And Father, we thank you for this time that we spent together. And Father, even though we may not have youth ministries in the works, or maybe we've been struggling with youth ministry, Father, just knowing that it's not lost, it's not forgotten, is just an amazing thing. So Father, I pray for all the pastors and the ministry workers who have been listening to this podcast today. I just thank you for the blessings upon blessings you give us, and the grace upon grace that you give us. And God, just never let us forget how good you truly are.
Yes.
And you alone deserve all the glory. So Father, we just ask that until we meet each other again, that your name is glorified and we are the church you have called us to be. And so, God, we ask this all through your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Well, thank you for joining us for our Firebrand Pastor podcast. Until next time, may God bless you abundantly.